Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the annual National Vietnam Veterans Day Parade and Ceremony. It's a great honor for historic programs to be here today to present this ceremony to welcome our Vietnam veterans home. For those of you who are younger, You may not be aware that 50 years ago when these men and women came home from Vietnam, they weren't welcomed like veterans are today. This parade and this ceremony is to welcome them home. So thank you for being here. Now, I would like you to please stand for the presentation of colors by our Joint Service Color Guard, led by Sergeant First Class Dallas Kempo, joined by members of the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, and Coast Guard. Following the presentation of colors, please remain standing for the performance of the Star-Spangled Banner, and remain standing reverently for the performance of Hawaii Pono'i. Color Guard. Thank you. You may be seated. I'd like to also ask the audience to please give a big round of applause to the 25th Infantry Division Band from Fort Shafter under the direction of Chief Warrant Officer 3 Davis. Please give them a big round of applause. On behalf of the National Vietnam Veterans Day Parade Committee and Historic Programs, we welcome you to the opening ceremony of the National Vietnam Veterans Parade, the largest event honoring the service and sacrifice of those who served in the Vietnam War. Today, we commemorate the events of the past by saluting those who served and sacrificed on behalf of a grateful nation. We are honored to be with you. To our Vietnam veterans, you are great Americans. We thank you, we love you, and will always remember your courage, your valor, your dedication to freedom and liberty. We are also very proud to welcome members of our allied nations, Australia, the Republic of Korea, Taiwan, New Zealand, and the former Republic of Vietnam. It's my privilege today to introduce you to our VIP seated here on stage behind me. I would first like to introduce you to the Grand Marshal of our parade, a very special person here in Hawaii to all of us that know him. He is the recipient of the Medal of Honor. Would you please welcome Sergeant Major Alan Kellogg. Big round of applause. Our reviewing official, City Council member who's representing the city today, would you please give a big round of applause for City Council member from District 6, Tyler Dos Santos Tam. Very honored to have with us the Special Forces Association. Would you please give them a big round of applause? We are also honored to have members of the Distinguished Flying Cross Association. Would you please welcome all of the members of the Distinguished Flying Cross recipients and our two speakers today, Colonel Rick Blank and Vic Bonfilio. We always honor our wounded warriors. We're very honored today to have the State Commander of the Military Order of Purple Heart, who is himself a wounded Vietnam veteran. Would you please welcome Mr. Joel Brilliant. We also have two members of the former Republic of Vietnam Army. Would you please give a big round of applause to helicopter pilot Lieutenant Vu Van Ho. And also from the Republic of Vietnam Red Beret Airborne, Lieutenant Pham G. Dam. We are also very honored today to have as our guest military speaker, the Fleet Master Chief from Indo-Pacific Command. Would you please welcome Command Master Chief Dave Isan. Now we're very pleased to introduce you to the combined chorus for a performance of America the Beautiful. This chorus represents two schools, Riverview High School from Pennsylvania and the Monroe Township High School Choir from New Jersey. They are under the direction of Chief Warrant Officer 3 Davis. round of applause for Riverview High School and Monroe Township High School. Can I please have my two student speakers come to the stage? Oh, okay, good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to two special young people. Patrice Sandvik from Cody High School and Mika Crabb from Appleton East High School are representing the younger generations to give you their words on what it means to be here today and to represent the younger generations at this ceremony. Would you please give a big round of applause for these two students?
What does it mean to be a hero? Do you have to have superpowers, hunt down evil villains, maybe have saved hundreds or thousands of people? But heroes are far more common than you might think. There's a quote by American author Joseph Campbell that says, "A hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself." Currently, there are roughly 1.32 million active duty personnel in the U.S. military who are giving their all for our country, and I believe that they all should be considered heroes. They are fighting to keep the freedom and safety of over 300 million Americans. But focusing solely on the active members in the military doesn't even begin to cover just how many people deserve to be called a hero. Over 41 million service members have sacrificed so much for Americans just like you and me. From the American Revolution to the war in Vietnam to present day, Americans have always proven their strength, tenacity, courage, and bravery by fighting for our country and countries that America has held out a hand for. The United States has often supported other nations and fought for them. Vietnam was one of those times that our own American troops were sent to fight against North Vietnam in an attempt to keep communism out of the world. But Vietnam was unlike any other war that America had fought in. The American soldiers not only had to face danger and hardship on the battlefield, but also had to deal with disrespect when they returned to this country. These soldiers came home with not only memories of both the good and the bad, but with wounds and trauma. Some came home without limbs or without their friends and brothers who they lost in battle. And the sad truth is that many didn't return at all, but they died fighting for what was right. They died so thousands could live safely and happily. They died so the soldiers they fought with side by side could come home to their country. But this country was divided on whether or not the soldiers who risked their lives for Vietnam's safety should have done so. I believe that any soldier who served our country with the goal of a better tomorrow deserves to be honored and recognized as a hero. It's not only what they did on the battlefield or behind the scenes that makes them a hero. Veterans not only serve our country during their time in uniform, but their dedication to service often continues long after they return home. Many veterans become pillars of their communities, taking on roles as firefighters, police officers, teachers, or mentors for younger generations. They bring with them the same values of courage, discipline, and selflessness that guided them in the military. Whether they're volunteering at local charities, coaching youth sports, or simply offering guidance to those in need, veterans continue to protect and uplift the people around them. Their commitment to service doesn't end when they take off the uniform. It's a lifelong promise to make their country and their communities stronger. So, what does it mean to be a hero? Maybe heroes don't wear capes or have superpowers. Maybe they don't defeat villains in comic book battles or save hundreds or thousands of lives in a single moment. Instead, a hero is someone who dedicates their life to something bigger than oneself, and who willingly sacrifices for the freedom, safety, and well-being of others. Our veterans are those heroes. From the front lines of battle to our communities, they have shown us what it truly means to put others before themselves, giving their time, strength, and in many cases, their lives, to protect the freedoms we truly value. Remembering their service isn't enough. We have to honor it. As you leave here today, I encourage you to find your own way to show gratitude. We all have a responsibility to not only remember their service and sacrifices that they have made for our freedom, but to honor it. So as you continue to go about your day, week, year, and life, go out of your way to show your respect and gratitude for the veterans who fought for your freedom. You can do this by thanking a veteran, supporting veterans organizations, or simply listening to their stories, so we can ensure their sacrifices are never forgotten. When we recognize and appreciate their sacrifices, we ensure that their legacy of courage and service is remembered for generations. Heroes walk among us every day, and they deserve to know that we see them, we value them, and we will never forget what they've given for us all.
50 years ago, American soldiers were finally able to return home after a long and gruesome battle in Vietnam. Unfortunately, thousands of those Americans sent away were never given the privilege of coming home to their families or their loved ones. The bravery and the courage that it takes to throw your life away, fight with people you've never met, against an enemy you don't know, for the rights of millions of Americans that you've never met. The bravery and courage it takes for that is insurmountable. So for these incredibly brave people to watch people around them die and fight for years for the rights of just us average citizens, and to come home and not even be appreciated for the work that they did is heartbreaking. When I was given this privilege of speaking up here today, I was asked, what does a veteran mean to me? I think it's a very difficult question to answer in only 4 minutes. But a veteran is not only someone who is incredibly brave and courageous and someone who will stand up for what they believe is right, but they'll be willing to stand up to the people that they're fighting for. 50 years ago, our country was incredibly divided, and divided over whether or not we should be at war in the first place. And we haven't seen divide like that ever in this country until recently. This country has been incredibly politically divided. I have seen friendships, year-long relationships, fall apart because two sides can't agree to disagree. And I think that that is an incredibly important skill to have. I never want to see my friends or my family fighting at Thanksgiving or fighting over politics or anything, but we haven't seen divide like this in 50 years. And I think that comes with a lot of repercussions. I see a lot of veterans not getting the respect that they deserve just like 50 years ago. And so, in conclusion, a veteran to me is not only someone that is brave, someone that's courageous, someone that's inspiring, but they possess that bravery and courage to stand up against people who are trying to take away their rights, but they're also willing to stand up to the people that they're fighting for. So thank you everyone who's here, and thank you to everyone who's served. Your bravery and courage and sacrifice will never be forgotten. God bless America.
How about a big round of applause for these two students? Now it's a great honor for me to introduce you to our next speaker tonight. As I told you earlier, we always honor our wounded warriors here. We've been doing that for years, and it's really important to remember those men who were wounded and women who were wounded in combat and service to our country. Tonight we have one of those people with us today. Would you please welcome Captain, United States Navy retired, Joel Brilliant. He was commissioned into the Navy in 1966 through the NROTC at the University of North Carolina, and served mostly with the Special Warfare Organization, retiring as a captain in 1996. Assignments included Special Boat Squadron with SEAL Team 1, beach jumpers, inshore underseas warfare, harbor defense, Navy Special Warfare Group 1. His 2 tours in Vietnam with the MAC-V were in 1968 to 1970. After retirement, Captain Brilliant spent the next 20 years in various senior management roles with Semper Energy. He and his wife Elizabeth, who is a Sacred Heart Academy and University of Hawaii alumni, reside in Hawaii Kai. Their children are both members of law enforcement living in California. Would you please give a big round of applause to Captain Joe Brilliant.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming here. a special shout out to the young folks from Wisconsin and Colorado. It's a nice, warm, 84-degree day in Honolulu, and I'm sure this is unique for them. So, thank you. I'm here on behalf of the Oahu Veterans Council and its president, retired Army and Vietnam veteran Colonel Ed Cruikshank, who's a close, dear friend of mine. Organized in 1992 and physically completed in 2012, the Oahu Veterans Center is located near Pearl Harbor Triple Hospital. It was built to host veteran organizations throughout Oahu, facilitate educational, benefit, and social programs and activities for all veterans who live, serve, and visit Oahu. The 50-plus organizations, many of which you see here, include the American Legion, Disabled Veterans, American Veterans, Veterans of Foreign Wars, commonly VFW, Military Order Purple Heart, Navy League, the American Red Cross, Vietnam Veterans America, Go for Broke 442, Special Forces, and so many others. The OVC actively engages and supports veterans meetings with congressional, state, and city officials, VA benefit programs, annual veterans-related ceremonies and parades, and job fairs. Headed by a council of veterans of all services, the OVCs exist to serve Oahu veterans, to promote veteran causes and issues. The various large size meeting halls and large facilities and significant parking is home to over 50 veteran service organizations. It's a gathering place for heroes. I encourage you to visit any of the veterans groups you see here. Spend a short time with some of the ones who have similar backgrounds or interests, and consider if you're local that the OVC is your gathering place. Thank you for attending. Thank you for your support.
Before I introduce our next two speakers, I would first of all like to have all of our wounded warriors please stand and be recognized. Thank you for your service. Hawaii is very privileged to have one of the largest Vietnam veterans communities in the country. This little small state has the most Vietnam veterans per capita of any state in the United States. But we also have a very important group of people here that I consider great Americans. I'd like to recognize our Vietnamese community that are great Americans and are here because of our soldiers. Would you please stand and be recognized? Now, I introduced this group a little bit earlier. Our next two speakers are Vietnam veterans. They are also the recipients of the Distinguished Flying Cross. Would you please welcome Mr. Vic Bonfiglio, who will be followed by Captain Rick Blank.
Good afternoon. My name's Colonel B. Thanks for the introduction, and thanks to Mr. Hurry and to the parade honchos for putting this together. I personally joined the service when I was 17. I did 4 years as a cadet and 30 years on active duty. During that time, I spent 23 years overseas, 7 years at the wars in Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, El Salvador, Bosnia, Kurdistan, Iraq, and Haiti. I got 431 combat missions and 32 missions on the North Korean frontier. I got hit 3 times, twice in the air, once on the ground, and I helped rescue 3 folks who had been shot down. We were asked to come here to tell war stories, but more important than that, I think it's important to recognize the people that we served with who did not come home. During my 30 years on active duty, 117 of my friends and comrades, people that I lived with, flew with, worked with, were killed or wounded or became prisoners of war or simply disappeared. 8 of my classmates disappeared. In addition to those 117 people, we should remember that 58,000 American servicemen were killed in action in Vietnam. If you add that up, during the year that I graduated from college, that was 1 American killed in action every 30 minutes for a year. That doesn't count the wounded, and that doesn't count our Vietnamese allies who lost even more folks than we did. In the year that I actually went to Vietnam, that number was down to 1 American killed in action every 45 minutes. I spent 35 months in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, and I was very sad about the outcome of the war. If we refer to our folks who went to Korea, the so-called Forgotten War, 37,000 of our troops were killed in action. If you cover that over the period of the Korean War, that's 1 American killed in action every 42 minutes for 3 years. Now, I don't mean to be gloomy. I don't mean to cast a bad overcast on this very momentous occasion. I appreciate you honoring us, but I also think it's important to understand the actual cost of these and many other wars. I would like to again thank you for honoring us and inviting us here, and I would like to acknowledge my comrade, Colonel Toby Rushforth, who won the Distinguished Flying Cross and the Silver Star, and I'll be followed by Colonel Rick Blank, who is also a Distinguished Flying Cross winner. Thanks. God bless America, and God bless the good folks who continue to serve.
Thank you, Vic. My family fought in all of our colonies and countries' wars since the Pequot War in 1636. My dad flew in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. My early memory was when we was stationed in France is visiting Omaha Beach 11 years after D-Day. 10 years later at the Naval Academy, I would visit Memorial Hall each time a graduate's name was added. After I graduated and entered flight training, our class's first Vietnam loss was a company mate Marine infantry officer. Other company and classmates went down with their aircraft or died serving as Marines and SEALs. In 1970 at Da Nang, I was assigned to an F-4 squadron based on the latest loss. During the Vietnam conflict, the 366 TAC Fighter Wing had 137 killed in action and 30 aircrew held as POWs. Included was Lance Saijan, the Air Force Academy's first Medal of Honor recipient. Packing up and sending my first Vietnam roommate stuff home was hard. I also saluted Marine trucks heading to the morgue with body bags, wondering if one held a classmate. We honor all Vietnam losses. Years later, I served in the California State Guard as a chaplain. It was a privilege to offer prayers at Memorial Day and Veterans Day services. The 10 casualty notifications that I accompanied were tough. I honor again the 77 veterans that I led memorial services for as a chaplain Most were World War II, Korea, and Vietnam veterans. I also honor the brave Vietnamese that served with us. In October 2019, I served at the interment of South Vietnamese airborne soldiers. In the Naval Academy Class of '68 News Online, it was written up as Mission Accomplished. Jim Webb's 2-year quest to secure a final resting place for the remains of 81 airborne soldiers of the Army of the Republic of Vietnam who were killed 54 years ago concluded on 26 October during a moving honor ceremony and interment at Freedom Park in Westminster, California. Jim and Secretary of the Navy Richard Spencer spoke at the ceremony. They have finally come home from a war to a place very few of them even knew, Jim said. But they will rest peacefully here among people who know this place and who remember them with respect and dignity. The soldiers died when a U.S. Air Force C-123 was shot down in 1965. The crash site was visited in 1974, and U.S. and Vietnamese remains were gathered and taken to Bangkok. 12 years later, the remains were sent to the Defense POW MIA accounting agency here in Hawaii. After DNA identification, the U.S. flight crew remains were sent home and given a proper military burial. The Vietnamese soldiers' remains were stored in Hawaii for 33 years. Men without a country, Jim said, after having given their lives on behalf of a country that no longer exists. In 2017, Jim began to work quietly with the Department of Defense, the Department of State, and U.S. diplomats in Vietnam to resolve the situation and was awarded custody of their remains. Secretary Spencer observed, across this great country, the Vietnamese American community has endured and indeed carved out a new birth of freedom. And may these actions help us remember who we are as Americans and who we should aspire to be, a people who respect and never forget those who fight alongside us. This memorial is proof that we will not allow our Vietnamese brothers in arms to be forgotten. There, I spoke with the Vietnamese Army veterans, including the Airborne Brigade commanders. In Hawaii on Memorial Day, I offer prayer at the memorial by the F4 at Kaneohe for the Da Nang-based Marine F4 loss of one of my plebe summer drill instructors, and at the Naked Warrior Memorial at Bellows to reflect and honor on the airborne troops I led through jump school at Fort Benning in 1965 and SEAL Team 2 friends I trained with in 1966, and all of our valiant warriors. As a chaplain, I thank the Lord for each of us here and ask His continued watch care over our military and veterans and their families. May God bless the USA. Before I step down, I want to recognize Colonel Toby Rushforth, who lost his roommate, Jerry Stellers, on Christmas Day, 1967. Jerry, when using his landing light to search for the lost platoon, was shot down and killed. He was awarded the Air Force Cross. Toby, in another O2, was part of that successful search. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And now it's a great honor for us to introduce you to our military speaker today. I introduced you to this gentleman a few minutes ago, but would you please give a big round of applause to Command Master Chief Isam, the Command Master Chief from Indo-Pacific Command.
Thank you, Earl, for that wonderful introduction. Let me just take a moment to say I am deeply honored to be here, standing on this stage, surrounded by heroes to my left and my right, looking out at an audience full of heroes. How about just a round of applause for all of the amazing folks that we have here today. I'd like to say thank you to Historic Programs for putting together such a great event, this parade today. Thank you for the musicians out there and the incredible singers. Just really beautiful, really a great way to start the day here. Fellow citizens, esteemed veterans, Gold Star families, and most importantly, our honored Vietnam veterans. We gather today not just to remember, but to truly recognize the profound debt that our nation owes to those who served in Vietnam. The Vietnam War was a complex and challenging chapter in our nation's history. It was a conflict fraught with political turmoil, moral ambiguity, and unimaginable sacrifices. And at the heart of this storm stood the brave men and women of our armed forces, answering the call of duty with unwavering courage and incredible resilience. Today, we honor not just their service, but their sacrifice. We remember the countless acts of valor on battlefields far from home, the unwavering camaraderie forged in the face of danger, and the deep scars, both visible and invisible, that many carried back with them. We acknowledge the pain of those who returned to a nation that struggled to comprehend their experiences, a nation that fell short in its duty to welcome them home as the heroes that they truly are. But from the ashes of this painful past, we have learned invaluable lessons. The Vietnam War taught us the true cost of conflict, not just in lives lost, but in the enduring wounds that it inflicts on individuals, on families, and on the very soul of a nation. It taught us the importance of clear communication, unwavering support for our troops, and the need for national unity when facing difficult times. Most importantly, it taught us about the enduring power of the human spirit, the unwavering patriotism of those who serve, and the profound debt that we owe to those who put their lives on the line for the ideals that we hold dear. For me personally, as a Navy SEAL who entered the Navy back in 1987, this is an especially meaningful occasion to celebrate, remember, and reflect. When I arrived at my first SEAL command, SEAL Team 1, over in Coronado, California, the tactics, techniques, and procedures being employed there were the direct products of lessons learned in Vietnam. These lessons were learned and written in blood by the SEALs and special boat teams conducting raids, ambushes, long-range reconnaissance, and special intelligence collection missions, striking fear into the hearts of the enemy and earning the nickname of the men with green faces for the camouflage paint that they often wore. At that time, there were still several Master Chief SEALs on active duty around the SEAL community, both on the East and West Coast. Some, like the famous names like Master Chief Rudy Bosch from the Survivor television show. They provided daily guidance, mentorship, and important lessons learned from their times in Vietnam. Those legendary heroes shaped and molded new frogmen like me, and we were undoubtedly better because of the service and dedication of those Vietnam veterans. They made us the fighting force that we are today, and their lessons learned became the doctrine that ensured success on future battlefields in places like Somalia, Afghanistan, and Iraq. So today, as we gather here to celebrate and reflect, let us not just remember the past, but let's draw strength from it. Let us honor the sacrifices of our Vietnam veterans, not just with words, but with actions. Let us strive to create a nation worthy of their sacrifice, a nation that values peace, understands the true cost of war, and offers unwavering support to those who serve in its defense. To the families who support those heroes, we thank you. Those of us in uniform today know and recognize the importance of your service and all that you do to support service members and veterans. We absolutely could not do what we do without the love and support of our families. To our Vietnam veterans, we thank you. We thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and your unwavering dedication to this nation. Your courage continues to inspire us all. Your resilience strengthens us, and your stories will forever be etched in the heart of our nation's history. May we never forget, and may we always strive to live up to the ideals for which you so bravely fought. May God bless our Vietnam veterans, our military, our families, and all the patriots of our great nation. God bless America, and thank you.
Thank you, Master Chief. I'd like to first of all give a big round of applause to all of our schools that are here. Many of you schools are standing out there in the hot sun, and you come from places where it's not this hot. I'd like to recognize all of our student musicians. Would you please hold your applause until I introduce all the schools, but I want to recognize each one. The Mighty Marching Cavaliers from Cuthbertson High School in North Carolina. Monroe Township High School Band and Chorus from New Jersey. Riverview High School Chorus from Pennsylvania. The Appleton East Patriot Appleton East High School from Wisconsin. Cody High School Bronc Marching Band from Wyoming. The Marist High School Band from Illinois. The Spirit of Jupiter from Jupiter Community High School in Florida. And the Cedar Grove High School Junior ROTC. How about a big round of applause for these young people? Now we are pleased to hear from the 25th Infantry Division Band from Fort Shafter, who will perform the Armed Forces Medley. During the Armed Forces Medley, would please ask you when you hear your service song to please stand and remain standing, as we have young people who will present all of our veterans with leis today. So please listen for your service medley, stand and wait until you receive a lei. Chief Davis, it's all yours. big round of applause for all of our veterans today. Veterans, please stand and be recognized. We're here for you today. Thank you, thank you. You may be seated. Now it's a great honor for me to introduce you to the President and Executive Director of Historic Programs. Would you please welcome Joel Biggs?
Thank you, Earl. It's good to be with you this nice, cool day. I love this cold weather. I'm from Arizona, where it's all beach and no ocean. And it's probably 120 degrees today. So we're loving it. But thank you for being here. I always get goosebumps when I see members of the rising generation honor our veterans, because they are the beneficiaries of the service and sacrifice that each of you have made. I'm sure when they were serving, they were not serving for themselves. They were thinking about their children and their future children and grandchildren. You are the reason that they did what they did. They say the two most important words in the English language are thank you. The people who have probably heard that the most have been our veterans. The veterans who have heard that the least, unfortunately, have been our Vietnam veterans. That is the reason for this event. It is time that our Vietnam veterans hear those words, thank you. We are here to thank you for your service, for your sacrifice, for your love of this great nation, for your love of your children and your grandchildren, and for the freedom and liberty that we all enjoy. It is my honor to present what we like to present. We call this from Historic Programs, the History Maker Medallion. And this is presented on the front. It is embossed with the statue that is at the Normandy American Cemetery. And it's emblematic or symbolic of the youth who died storming the beaches of Normandy, but represents all of our veterans, a young person reaching towards the heavens. And on this medal it says, serve, honor, unify, educate, and inspire. On the back of this medallion it says, one who represents the spirit of America through selfless service and whose influence affects positive change in the world. I can't imagine better history makers than our veterans. At this time, I'm going to invite one of our JROTC platoons, these great cadets from Cedar Grove High School, if they would come forward on the stage at this time. I've asked them to present a History Maker medallion to all of those history makers seated behind me here on the stage today. We are forever proud of our association with these history makers. We love you, we thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing everybody in the parade on Calico Avenue in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Joel. And now I'd like to introduce to you the Celtic Pipes of Oahu, who will play for us Amazing Grace in honor of all of our heroes who never came home. The Celtic Pipes, please come forward. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude our ceremony today, we are very honored to have a performers of the massed bands of the Vietnam Veteran Parade 2025. I introduced you to these bands earlier, but led by the 25th ID Band under the direction of Chief Warrant Officer 3 Davis, they are joined by Jupiter High School Band, the Monroe Township High School Band, the Appleton East High School Band, the Cuthbertson High School Band, the Marist High School Band, and the Cedar Grove Junior ROTC in a performance of God Bless America. Following the performance of God Bless America, I please ask all of our balloon carriers to please report to your balloons, and everyone please stand by for directions to head out to the parade. Ladies and gentlemen, the mass bands of the 2025 Vietnam Veterans Parade. Thank you. Big round of applause for all of our bands. A special round of applause for the 25th Infantry Division Band from Fort Schaffner under the direction of Chief Warrant Officer 3 Davis. Thank you. Now, for ladies and gentlemen that are in the audience, you're welcome to work your way over towards the parade. Bands, choirs, please follow your tour guides and they will get you over to the parade route so we can get the parade started. For all of our veterans who are riding in cars, we will take you to the parade route in the golf carts behind the stage. Please report to the golf carts. And veterans, you're welcome to walk in the parade, ride in the trolleys. We do this for you. Thank you all for being here.
Made to raise a flag. Ooh, they're ready. haino ua o e a pau pono na ua he luka uana ala mai ho e makau au uana ka makani he leulu me oni ka pina me kai hona me na ki ke ala nui e mana o ko i ke kani ko ele ua ki ka pina i ka hulu
Testing 1, 2. Aloha mai kako, everyone. Welcome to Kalakaua Avenue. On behalf of the National Vietnam Veterans Day Parade Committee and Historic Programs, we say commemorate and welcome to Kalakaua Avenue. How many of you are ready to see this parade? My name is Sia Tonga. I am a mother of 8 children. I am proud to be an American. Born here in Hawaii, and very honored that as part of my civic duty I can show up here as you have this glorious day, because you and I can express that we truly are a grateful nation for the men and women who have served us. USA! 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 And because we're in Hawaii, can I get a choo-hoo? It's a great day to be an American. Mahalo for coming to the 50th state. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard Street Bikers United. Motorcyclists who have joined us year after year. And now for the Congressional Medal of Honor, who is the Grand Marshal, Alan Kellogg. Aloha. Distinguished Flying Cross Society, please throw up a shaka and wave aloha to our amazing veterans as they pass you by. And if you didn't know, aloha means love, and the least we can do is express our love. If you're thankful for your freedoms, notify your face and smile at each of our veterans as they pass you by. Mahalo, mahalo nui. for your service. It is, in fact, for those of you just joining us, it is the Vietnam Veterans Parade right here in the heart of Waikiki. If your hands are free, how about a round of applause for the Vietnam veterans?
Welcome back, brother.
Every year we're grateful for the Corvettes that are provided for our veterans and our Grand Marshal as we parade right here in Kalakaua Avenue. As the color guard will approach, we actually are blessed to have some of the future leaders of our country who traveled from around the nation to be here in the 50th state to in fact sing for you and with you the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to normalize singing the national anthem, so let's not just spectate. If you're wearing a hat, please remove your hat. And it's customary that we place a hand on our heart. You're free to do that or not, but I'd like to invite you as a mother of 8 kids, we can teach our children once again to join in as we sing our national anthem. We will wait for the very honored to have Riverview High School from Pennsylvania and Monroe Township High School Choir from New Jersey. I would imagine they traveled the furthest to be here from Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I'd like to remind you that the Joint Service Color Guard approaching us now are service members from the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Space Command. I can see many of you saluting already. I thank you. Now this veteran lives right here in the heart of Hawaii, here in Waikiki, and he joins us every time we have a parade. And so I'm thankful he circles and prepares for our Joint Service Color Guard. Thank you, Uncle. We love you. Mahalo nui. Fellow Americans, please be upstanding. Once again for the national anthem, Riverview High School Choir of Pennsylvania and Monroe Township High School Choir of New Jersey. Since the 50th state is the only one separate from the continent, we're allowed to do the national anthem and continue to have the sounds that you just heard from our amazing Army band that's about to join us. How about another round of applause for all the young people, the fine young people from Pennsylvania and New Jersey who have traveled all the way here to show their patriotism and gratitude to our Vietnam veterans. And now that we're all excited about hearing them, these are the soldiers from the 8th Theater Sustainment Command at Fort Shafter. The military band, 25th Infantry Division Band, created on October 12, 1943. Second most highly decorated band in the U.S. Army. They have 13 unit awards spanning from World War II to the global war on terrorism, participating in 27 campaigns. Soldiers, once again, from the 8th Theater Sustainment Command at Fort Shafter represent the Senior Army Logistics Command in the Pacific Command Area of Responsibility. The least you can do is clap as you see these fine young men and women who serve our great country. The Aloha Hawaii Vietnam veterans. Woo-hoo-hoo! Mahalo pihano kaeleana mai. We want to thank our Aloha Hawaii Vietnam War veterans as we welcome home Vietnam War veterans, not only of the Hawaii group, but of all others who are here with us this evening. We thank them for standing right where they are. As a mother of Hawaii, I salute you and I mahalo you for your service. Once again, everyone who's here at Kalakaua Avenue, these are the Vietnam veterans of Hawaii as we welcome the state of Hawaii. The 5th state of Hawaii. The 5th. And following right closely behind Hawaii, Vietnam, and following right closely behind Hawaii, Vietnam War veterans are the Vietnam Veterans of America, Unit 8. War veterans are the Vietnam Veterans of America, Unit 858. 58. Home, welcome home. Still part of the Vietnam Veterans of America. Vietnam Veterans of America. So grateful that we are able to honor the veterans who did go to Vietnam. About not only how grateful we are, we should be a grateful nation for those who serve our great country. Vietnam veterans! We salute you and mahalo you. Chapter 858. We love you, mahalo. Way to represent the state of Hawaii and our Vietnam veterans with both our flag and the state flag of the 50th state. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vietnamese American community led by Mr. Tony Tai, the former Republic of Vietnam veteran, Bien Duong Provincial Reconnaissance Unit, Phoenix. What a great reminder that we live in times of peace. And these are our Vietnamese, Ohana. We welcome from the beautiful island of Maui, Maui County Veterans Council. And mahalo the council members for being here to represent Maui. Maui Noka Oi. Woo! And right behind our Maui Council members, the Purple Heart banner. Military Order of the Purple Heart received this decoration. It was chartered by Congress, and it's unique among veteran service organizations. With grants from the Military Order of the Purple Heart Service Foundation and its ladies. Our parade committee wishes to extend a heartfelt aloha and mahalo to the Celtics' participation in today's Vietnam Veterans Memorial Day Parade. Compass Real Estate Group, we mahalo you. We thank you so much for all the volunteers you also brought to help us escort our military balloons across Kalakaua Avenue. There's no way that we can have this kind of a parade without the volunteers who make it happen. Daughters of the American Revolution, Chapter 127, the Aloha Chapter, National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, organized 127 years ago. What a legacy. Their membership requires a proven lineal descent to a patriot of the American Revolution. Once again, round of applause for the Aloha Chapter of the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution. Welcome to the heart of Waikiki for the Vietnam Veterans Parade, Cody High School Band from Wyoming. Cody High School Marching Band is being led today by drum majors Brooklyn French and Luella Cornell, under the direction of Wade French and Jeannie Godell. They come from the Dorth Park to represent Wyoming. And mahalo to all the sponsors on this banner at the very end for making it possible for Cody High School Band to join us from Wyoming. Next up, we have the Elks Lodge, combined with members of the Vietnam Veterans of America and VFW Post 8616. Honolulu Trolley. We also recognize the children of the American Revolution. Wonderful. And the Rosies, we love you. Rosie Riveters. Thank you.
Veterans of VFW Foreign Wars, yeah, VFW. Next one, third floor.
Joining us now is VFW, and for the kids who don't know what VFW is, it's Veterans of Foreign Wars. Post 10276. One of the largest Veterans of Foreign Wars posts in Hawaii, established in 1972 at Fort Shafter, is represented today, post 10276, comprised of men and women from World War II, Korean, Vietnam, Gulf, Afghanistan, Iraq, and other major conflicts. We cannot express enough our gratitude. Congratulations to post 10276 on your upcoming 50th anniversary. Riding in the vehicles are members Bob Brettensteiner, Stan Fernandez, Ted Hashimoto, and Ron Shado. Mahalo. Testing. And along with all the cars we wish we could drive, come our beautiful beauty queens. This is one great lineup for our Veterans Parade, Vietnam Veterans Parade 2025 in the Copper and Tan Corvette, executive producer of Hot Rock TV Hawaii and the Galaxy Global Television Network, President Ronnie James, with Mrs. Eva Salcido and Miss Universal Petite Puerto Rico 2025. Just got back from her tour of the mainland and Puerto Rico. In the hot red Corvette, isn't she gorgeous? Leilani Smith is a talented 6-year-old actor, dancer, and model. She holds the titles of 2025 Little Miss Waikiki Car Club and Little Miss Hot Rock TV. Once again, that was Leilani Smith. Alexandria Bogate, Miss Waikiki Teen USA 2025. Isn't she gorgeous? Thank you. The Cuthbertson High School Band is here from North Carolina. Cuthbertson High School Mighty Marching Cavaliers is a vibrant, dedicated group of musicians selected to participate in this year's Vietnam Veterans Memorial Day Parade, a deeply meaningful event honoring the history and resilience of our nation's servicemen and women. Cuthbertson High School is in Waxhaw, North Carolina. This is their second visit to the island. Proudly representing their state, they had also previously performed at the 75th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. And now, the Navy Balloon. And the Navy Platoon. Show some aloha for the Navy. Chee-hoo! My favorite uniform of all. And now, for Monroe Township High School Band and Chorus of New Jersey. Monroe Township High School music program has an extensive history of performance and excellence throughout New Jersey. They're excited to have returned to Hawaii to perform and offer a salute for our veterans. Please welcome Monroe Township High School Band and Chorus from New Jersey. Next is the American Legion Post 17, chartered by Congress on March 15, 1919, as a patriotic veterans organization. Membership swiftly grew to over 1 million, and local posts sprang up across the country. Today, membership stands at over 2.4 million in 14,000 posts worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, American Legion Post 17. And our youngest recruits, Young Marines. We thank the Young Marines. University of North Carolina Alumni Association, mahalo for escorting our Navy balloon across Kalakaua Avenue for the Vietnam Veterans Parade. Ladies and gentlemen, Marist High School Band from Illinois. Founded by Mr. Frank Nana in 1963. Internationally famed band. Once again, we welcome the Marist High School Band of Illinois. a legacy of 60 years and a staple in the Chicagoland community. Founded by Mr. Frank Manna in 1963, they performed at the Rose Bowl Parade in Pasadena, St. Patrick's Day Parade, and of course now the Vietnam Veterans Parade. I salute the Air Force as they pass you by here in the heart of Waikiki. As we salute and express our gratitude to the Vietnam veterans. Space Force balloon. Wave or clap or smile, whatever you can do to show your gratitude. It's the least we can do. Aloha! This boy has aloha spirits.
Can we get a cheer for my man? Can we get a cheer?
Yes.
Right.
Let's hear it for the Spirit of Jupiter Marching Band from Jupiter, Florida. This Jupiter Community High School Marching Band is under the direction of Ryan Ross. They are a Florida powerhouse, often placing top 3 in their state. They have huge gratitude for all those who have served and are honored to march today in tribute of our Vietnam veterans. Mahalo nui loa, the Spirit of Jupiter Marching Band from Jupiter, Florida. And now for the Coast Guard. We salute not only veterans, but all of our Coast Guard families that might be here in Kalakaua at this time. Now, anytime I come from the North Shore for these wonderful parades, patriotic parades, I should say, I am always looking forward to Blazin' FX classic cars. We want to say aloha to Lay of Blazin' FX and the good folks that provide us with our classic cars. One of our more popular entries every time we are here at Kalakaua Avenue, this time for the Vietnam veterans. These are all cars. We're going to take you back in time to the early 50s and 60s. I want you to chee-hoo when the car you wish you owned passes you by. Tonight we're here for the Vietnam veterans as we remember as a grateful nation the service of these great men and women. And Blazin' FX Cars is always here. Not only for this parade, but later on in the year when we resume for Pearl Harbor. That's it, rev that engine when you pass by. Shee-hoo! It's a proud moment when we can celebrate and still have these well-kept classic cars from the 50s and 60s. And we look forward to having more cars made in our country that we buy and drive on our roads. Mahalo. Appleton East High School Band from Wisconsin. Under the direction of Margaret LaFleur. The Appleton East Patriots have a long history of performance excellence in the wonderful state of Wisconsin and around the nation. They're here to provide a musical salute to our Vietnam veterans and are proud to represent the rising generation in demonstrating their gratitude for the service and sacrifice of our service members. Please, a round of applause for Appleton East High School Band of Wisconsin. absolutely amazing. Way to represent the state of Wisconsin, Appleton East High School Band. And I want to say mahalo for choosing a wonderful aloha print. And of course, approaching you now, the American Bald Eagle. Choo! And we'd like to mahalo and thank our volunteers who've showed up also to render their service and appreciation to our service members. Mahalo to our U-Haul volunteers as they pass by. Can anybody out there name what kind of car is coming this way? I can't hear you. What make of car is it? It's a Volkswagen. Let's say it. 1, 2, 3. Volkswagen. Here they come. This is the Volkswagen Club of Hawaii. Joining us now. Mahalo to the Volkswagen Club of Hawaii for joining us in our effort to express our gratitude, our mahalo to the Vietnam veterans. And every time I see the next vet center, mobile vet center approaching us, I'm trying not to cry, I need to pull it together. I'm constantly thinking of what we can do to serve our veterans wherever you might be. This is the Hawaii State Department of Veterans Affairs Mobile Vet Center. And even though the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs does their part to help the veterans of our country, I ask you as a mother of this state of Hawaii to look for the veteran nearest you and see how your family can be of service. If we malama or cherish each other, we will continue to be a strong and grateful nation. Mahalo once again. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our Vietnam Veterans Memorial Parade. Please take care of each other. Whether you're visiting Hawaii or you're from Hawaii, aloha is what our entire nation needs. Alo means to share, and ha is breath or essence of life. We're grateful for the gift of life that we have, and we're grateful for those who are willing to sacrifice their lives for us. As you hold the hand of your child walking by, I'm smiling at you and hoping that you know that as the future generation of our country, the best thing we can do is to teach them through our example what aloha means. May we as a nation treat each other with aloha from one state to another, from one household to another. And like we did earlier, normalize singing the national anthem wherever you might be so that you might be reminded of the freedoms we enjoy.
And defend our country at all times.
Yes, and defend our country and defend our children. Protect them at all costs. I'd like to leave you with a song. If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my family by my side. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, New York to Hawaii. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say, I love you and I thank you for my freedom. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the ones who died to give that right to me. And I proudly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. Sing it with me. God bless the USA. Proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the ones who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. That's it, folks. Thank you for being here this year. We'll be here next year this time. I'd actually like to announce who our Vietnam veteran is that happens to be here with us. This is Ron Nakatsu, ladies and gentlemen, Vietnam veteran. Here from the state of Hawaii. I salute you and I thank you for your service. All right. Welcome home, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, just heard from Sia. Another big round of applause for Sia. She's a special lady here in Hawaii. We sure love her. Nobody more patriotic than Sia. She's got a beautiful voice. Thank you all for being here today on National Vietnam Veterans Day and the National Vietnam Veterans Day Parade. Don't forget to thank and hug a veteran like Sia just did.
Once again, thank you, Joel, the National Vietnam Veterans Parade. Before I turn the microphone off, the reason I'm so patriotic is because of my mother. She's here for the first time today, back home in Hawaii. My mom, Henrietta, is 84 years old. She came to the United States legally in 1955, and she, from the first breath I took, taught me to be a grateful citizen of this great country. I urge you to do the same in your household. Mahalo.